Otto, you've certainly been active. So we've seen you obviously coming off that win over Travis Kaufman. But it seems like the boxing media tends to forget that. You know, all they write about is Tyson Fury and the fight there. So how much is this fight on Saturday for you about changing the narrative that you're not just a guy who gave Tyson Fury a good fight and some nasty cuts?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, everybody wants to ask about that fight, and they forget that I've done a lot more than that. But it was a great performance, so I understand it. Most of the people had never seen me fight before, and that was the first fight, and it was better than what most people thought. So, I mean, I'm kind of over that now. Want to move forward, and it's nice to be here on Showtime, fight with Breazeale here, who's got a good name. So hopefully with this fight, can beat him and then move on, and people start seeing that I'm able to beat some good guys.
Dominic, I read on the boxing scene, you're quoted as saying Otto Wallin is going to realize that he has bit off more than he could chew. What do you mean by that?
You know, it's one thing to be in the heavyweight division, and I know there's some word about there being a division of, 225 and below, a different heavyweight division. When you're in the ring with a guy like myself, 6'7", 250 pounds, you get hit with the Mack truck. It's really being hit by a Mack truck, and that's what I mean by it. In the heavyweight division, there's respect for guys who can fight. There's respect for guys who have speed, and there's respect for guys who have power. I'm a big, athletic, strong guy, and Otto's going to find out Saturday night.
Otto, let's talk about that. Bad Left Hook did an interview with you, and you said, quote, "I'm more well-rounded than Dominic Breazeale." What do you mean by that?
I think I am more well-rounded, and also you can't forget that I'm actually 6'6", 240, so I'm not that small. I know a lot of people look at me that I'm smaller, but I'm not that small. With that being said, I think that I'm smarter. I got a great team. We have a great camp, and I got really good tools. I'm faster than Dominic. I got better footwork, better defense, and better offense. So I got to bring that in there and just do what I'm good at, and it will all be fine.
What do you think a victory over Dominic Breazeale does for you going forward here in the heavyweight division?
I think it will hopefully help, moving past what we talked about with Fury, but also it will put my name up there at the top, I hope, to solidify my spot there. And I don't think only with this fight that I can get a title shot, but it will be a good step on the way.
Dominic, you are certainly, from the last time we've seen you against Wilder, a changed fighter, not only in the way you look, but even your corner. So you certainly have made a lot of changes. Tell us why.
I think the changes were done at the right time. I made a trainer change going into the Wilder fight. Nothing against Virgil Hunter, great world-renowned trainer. Just wasn't the right fit for myself at the time. I made a change with Abel Sanchez now, and the Summit Boxing Gym up in Big Bear, California, and it's been huge. It's been one of those things that I wish I would have done years ago. Abel's actually got this thing written on the wall. It says, "Imagine what if." And I imagine what if every night. I wish I was there a year or 2 years ago, but the 7 weeks that I was with him was a blessing in disguise, man. My conditioning level is better, my strength is better, my confidence is through the roof. But at the same time, sometimes subtle changes in a boxer's career is what it takes to get you back to the mountaintop, and that's what I'm trying to do. I've been there twice now, and I'm on the road for the third time.
Here's the intriguing thing to me about this fight, because we've got two top contenders in the heavyweight division and two guys who fought the three top guys in the heavyweight division: Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and obviously Deontay Wilder. So what do you think a win over Otto Wallin does for you?
I think it puts me right back in the swing of things. Not that I ever fell out of it, but at the same time, a guy like Otto, like I keep telling people, is great opposition. It's the type of situation where, I've been off for a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, and people say, well, you should have just took a pushover fight. Take somebody that's just in the swing of things. That's never been my stature. I've always wanted to fight top guys, and I saw Otto Wallin's fight against Tyson Fury, and I love the performance he put on, the athletic ability he did, and then, of course, the Travis Kaufman fight. When the name was brought to my attention, I was like, yes, I jumped all over it, because I knew that the boxing world would respect a fight against myself and Otto than they would just some random.
Give you the final words here. Tell us, what should we expect Saturday?
I think you can expect a good fight, two good fighters. I think that Dominic probably feels that he has a point to prove and probably going to come out there, be aggressive, try to come after me. I'm sure I won't have to look for him, and I'm ready for that. So I think people can expect an exciting fight, and I'm ready for it. And it's going to be a good night of boxing.
Everything written about this fight talks about Dominic's power and how you're a boxer. But in these kind of fights, isn't this one of those kind of fights where you kind of got to get your respect to show him, listen, I can throw too, and I'm heavy-handed as well?
Yeah, I think, like I said, Dominic, he's an aggressive guy. So I got to be smart with that too. I can't just let him be who he is. I got to be who I am and, try to make some traps for him and set him up. And I think I will be able to do that.
Give me a final word here before we take questions from members of the media.
I think Otto's white. I think it's going to be an exciting fight, man. It's going to be fireworks type of a deal. Like you said, I'm an aggressive guy. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to pump the brakes. It's going to be pedal to the metal the whole time from the opening gate. He can set as many traps as he wants, man. I'm not going to fall for him. I think at the same time he's a great boxer. But I don't think he's ever been there with a big, strong, athletic guy like myself. And once I land the leather, game plan is going to change. I mean, Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody's got a game plan until you get punched in the mouth.
All right. Greg Domino from Showtime will acknowledge you. For members of the media who have questions for these two big men, just hit the raise your hand icon there on the Zoom, and he'll call on you. So, Greg, let's take our first question from members of the media.
Thank you, Brian. The first question comes from James Conlon.
Hi, Dominic, Otto. Just in relation to the heavyweight division at the moment, we mentioned the top three guys, Wilder, Fury, Joshua. It's very competitive pack just underneath it. We have the likes of Luis Ortiz, Anthony Ruiz, Dylan White, and you two guys. And you're all trying to make the push to break into that pack. So a defeat for any of you this weekend in a fight that you both think you should be winning, it's going to be a long road back. Just for both of you, in terms of your answer to that, how do you feel that this fight, is it a defining fight in both of your careers?
James, thanks for coming on, man. I think it's a situation where every fight is a defining fight in your career, especially when you get a situation like ours when you're 20+ fights in. I think you get a win, it boosts you into the stats of fighting for a title, if not for a title eliminator. But at the same time, if you get a loss, it could be devastating for your career.
Yeah, I don't think this fight is defining, but I think it's a big, important fight for me, and I have a lot to give to this sport. So this is a good step up, and I'm ready for it, but it's not going to define me. I'm just going to move on from here and move on to bigger and better things.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, James. The next question, and just a reminder, please raise your hand if you have any questions for either fighter. The next question here comes from Jeremy Harrigis of Fansided. Jeremy, the floor is yours.
You got me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
First question's for Dominic. Dominic, obviously after that KO loss to Wilder, it could have made you kind of question yourself, but it seems to have really inspired you. How long after that loss did you decide to make all of these changes? Was it something that you kind of did immediately, and was there an urgency to your actions after that fight?
I wouldn't say there was an urgency. I definitely digest the loss probably within the first couple of days. I was back in the gym in about 10 days. I didn't dwell on it. It wasn't a situation that I wanted to harp on or let bothered me for a while. But the changes definitely came. I knew I had to make changes. I knew they were going to be done in the next couple of weeks. I fulfilled that probably within the next year or so. Kind of jumped around, changed elements as far as my eating, as far as my training. And then, of course, the biggest one of all and the best one that I made was making the trainer change.
As far as working with Abel Sanchez now, what has he done, not necessarily different than Virgil Hunter, but what has he done that's fresh for you, that's made you excited about boxing?
I think Abel Sanchez does a great job of just a whole of things, from having a gym to making a heavyweight like myself run every single day. You have to remember, I went from running maybe once or twice a day, if not sometimes not even at all. Definitely didn't run on sparring days, but running in the morning in the big bear elements and the snow and the high elevation was one thing. The strength conditioning that Abel does and he's there for sparring, things like that. The one thing that I did cherish and that I was involved, that I'm glad that Abel was involved with, was every aspect of it. I mean, I saw him early in the morning, I saw him in the afternoon, I saw him in the evening. He brought light to the gym. He brought a higher form of boxing education, or boxing IQ, I should say. So, like I said, I wish I would have made the change a lot sooner, but I'm glad that I did.
One question for Otto, if I may. For Otto, obviously Dominic has faced some great opposition. Do you feel like you're going to be comparing yourself, or do you feel a pressure to kind of one up some of the other opponents that he's fought in the past?
No, I don't feel a lot of pressure. I think that I just gotta be myself, and I am who I am, and I'm gonna go out there and do what I do and what I'm good at. So I don't feel a lot of pressure. You know, this is a big opportunity for me, so I try to be positive, and I waited a long time to get to this level, and I'm finally here, and I'm not going back now.
Thank you, gentlemen, and best of luck.
Thank you, everyone. That's all from the media right now. Back to you, Brian.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, guys, before we wrap this up, we'd like to have a face-off here. So you place your mask on and stand behind the tape, and we'll get a nice little face-off.